Making money while you sleep is the passive income dream, and I am here to show you in this video exactly how I do that with email marketing. You're gonna get the step-by-step of exactly how I design an email campaign and automate it so that it runs for me all year long for years to come, bringing income in while I do other things. Setting up systems like these is how you generate passive income. So let's jump into this video so you can get this set up for yourself. Hey, if you do not know me, I am Monica Snyder, and I am here to teach you all these cool systems and email marketing things so you can have your own passive income systems that work for you while you sleep or play with your kids. If that sounds like fun, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss anything. Step one of this system is to have the correct product to sell. For this passive income system, you're gonna wanna sell a product where you are not involved in the sale of the product. So nothing where somebody books a phone call with you or anything like that. You're gonna want a digital product, a digital course, something that is physical that could just be shipped. Anything where you are hands off of the actual selling and fulfillment is what you want for this. Now here's the deal. It does not have to be your product. There are other products that you could sell, both digital and physical, that other people will give you money for if you sell for them. That's called affiliate marketing, and they will give you a percentage of the sale for every person you bring to them that actually purchases their product. You can find these deals for many services and products that you use. Just go to the footer of the website of some of your favorite places and look for partner program, affiliate program, something like that. And that's where you can find out all that information on how to sell their product in this email series. And then you don't even have to make a product. So if you have a product in mind, I would love for you to smash the like button so that I know you are ready with the right kind of product to build out this passive income system. The nature of this system means that this product is always going to be available for sale. And we call that evergreen. So it's always available, people can buy it. So why do they need to buy it now? Your job is to figure out how to create urgency so that they are wanting to get it right now and they don't want to wait. Because when people are like, hey, I'll put that off till later, they'll buy it later, I'll do that later, right? It doesn't happen. Now, with this particular style of email setup and email system, there are two ways I recommend you do this. The first is by using good copywriting. With copywriting, you're going to use your words to encourage someone to act now. And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to push them towards pleasure or pull them away from pain. Now, what do I mean by that? To push them towards pleasure, you're going to remind them of what could be happening right now if they invested in your product or service and how their life would be better. To pull them away from pain, what you're going to do is say, hey, aren't you tired of dealing with this? Now, say it in a way that's authentic to you, because sometimes that could come across as a little pushy. And if that's not you, no worries. Find a way that is authentic to you to remind them that this pain that they're in, they don't have to stay there. And you have a product or service that can help them. The second way you can create urgency is to use technology. There is a specific software out there that I use called Deadline Funnel. And what Deadline Funnel does is it takes each individual reader and creates a time-based campaign. So you can set it up where each person has their own time span for a limited time deal or some limited time thing like a bonus, things like that. You're gonna see this a little bit later in my actual automation that I'm gonna show you. I love using Deadline Funnel because it really does bring authenticity to a limited time promotion that is running all the time. Because of the way the technology works, it actually does know that this person has a limited time and it blocks them from getting the promotion if they're outside of that time window. I'll pop a link below to Deadline Funnel so that you can check it out for yourself. Now here's a pro tip. I love to combine these two urgency methods. I almost always include the copywriting version of urgency in anything I write. And then I love to include Deadline Funnel because it just adds another layer. So what I like to do is put them together and create a really great urgency-driven email series, which is what we're gonna talk about because that is step 3. Writing this email series might be the hardest part of this entire campaign for you. You're gonna want to think about how you're gonna get this user to purchase using emails. Now, this might be the hardest part of the process for you, but given what you just figured out with the urgency, you can pick an email sequence that is easier or harder to write. The easiest one is the flash sale or surprise sale. This particular series is basically like, hey, you've got 72 hours to buy this with this discount. Now, if you're gonna use Deadline Funnel, then this is perfect for Deadline Funnel because Deadline Funnel will make that true for each individual. You're gonna wanna write a series that's got some teaching and some mind shifting going on in the beginning, and I like to do that in 2 to 3 emails. And then in the end, you're gonna really wanna push the product. You're gonna wanna tell them all the features, all the benefits. You wanna go into the stories about it, the frequently asked questions, all the good things to get all the buyer types to purchase. Now, I made another video all about buyer types, and I'll link that up here for you so you can see it, so you can build this sequence out. The key to making this sequence work is that in that first email, you're really going to want to use a subject line that is really compelling, something that is surprising or some sort of pattern interrupt, something that really gets their attention. And then in the bottom of the first 2 to 3 emails, you're gonna wanna leave open loops. And what that is just like a, hey, tomorrow I'm gonna be in your inbox with something else really cool. You don't wanna miss it. But you kind of want it to be like a cliffhanger, sort of like your favorite TV show. You know how they end the season and they're like, and you don't know what's happening until next season. You wanna do that in those first few emails for this particular kind of sequence. And if you want a shortcut to writing all these sequences and all the templates, I have a product called Relationship and Revenue. It is pretty inexpensive and it has all those built in for you. I'll link it below, but it's right here on the bottom of the screen, relationshipandrevenue.com. You can grab those templates to shortcut this process. The fourth and last step of this process is to actually go into your autoresponder software and build out the automation. Now I'm curious, comment below total techie if you love tech and you think it's so cool, or technophobic if you are like, oh, technology. Yeek. Now here's where the real passive ongoing income comes from this system, is setting this up right. What I like to do to keep this system always going is to create a custom field in your autoresponder. You're gonna create a custom field that's gonna hold the date that you last sent this promotion. And the reason we want to build that is because that's how we're going to kick off the automation, is using this date field. Now, each autoresponder is a little bit different. So how you're going to put this field there, you're going to have to look at their help documents, but I trust that you can Google that. Once you have that in place, you can use that as a trigger to kick off an automation that'll start this email series. Depending on the series, I like to kick them off every 3 to 6 months. So that way, when people get the email sequence again, they don't necessarily remember it, because here's the deal. We have short memory spans and it might trigger just like a little bit of like, maybe I've read this before, but they're not going to remember your entire series. So do not stress about being like, Monica, I just sent that email out 3 months ago. Yeah, you remember that, but the person reading it? Not really. Between 3 months ago and now, they've heard a gazillion other marketing messages, so yours has long left their brain. So do not stress about repeating the exact same sequence over and over. All right, real quick, before I show you the automation, what I'm promoting is my automated audience course. It is normally $197, and you can see this is the sales page for it. I'm gonna scroll to where you can see sort of all this good stuff that you get in it. And so the reason I'm pointing this out is because you need to know what I'm selling in this for it to make sense. And the promotion that I have for this particular email sequence and campaign is that they get $80 off. So instead of it being $197, they can get it for $117, and I am using deadline funnels, which I'm gonna show you right now. This is the behind the scenes of my Active Campaign autoresponder. I use Active Campaign, I really love it. They let me do a lot of cool things, but this particular campaign can be built out in most autoresponders. So I wanna point out a few things. These triggers are the things across the top, and they start the automation. And I have 2 triggers. I have the Start AA promo tag, and I have the one that is automated that I've been talking about in this video so far. So this particular Start AA promo tag is if I want to manually kick this off for someone, I just add this tag to them as a contact, and then it will kick off this series. This is the one that is automated. So let's read through this. Date is 180 days after contact's last AA pitch. So last AA pitch means automated audience. That is the custom field I have set up in my autoresponder so that I know the last date that they were pitched this product. And in 180 days is once every 6 months. Now there's a few more tags here I want to point out that you're probably going to want to do too. And that is that they do not have the buyer tag. So this is how I use my system. When somebody purchases something from me, I give them a buyer tag. So you can see it says buyer automated audience. So I want them to not have that tag because if they have already bought, they don't need this sequence. The other tag that I like to use is an in automation tag. I put this tag on a contact at the beginning of every automation, and then I remove it at the end. And it's so that I don't send multiple automations at one time. You can actually see right down here in this blue box where I am setting it for this sequence, and I'm adding the tag. And if we scroll to the bottom, I am removing it. So that's how I set up the tag so I don't send people multiple automations or they don't get a ton of stuff all at once hitting their inbox, because when you set up these automated systems, sometimes they can get a little wonky, and I try really hard not to let that happen. Now, this particular sequence and how I wrote it was a little bit advanced. And so I actually have this here to start this promotion on a Wednesday. So what it'll do is it'll put people into this automation and it waits until Wednesday. And then we add that in automation tag. Now, this purple box here is the code that sends off to Deadline Funnel so that I create that real urgency and scarcity for this person that they can only get this $80 off promo for the amount of time that I say. And then we get into the part that you may be familiar with, which is setting up the email sequences. So this is the first email, and then you can see I've got 2 people waiting for the second email, and I've just spaced these out one day. I actually wrote this entire series in a Google Doc, and then I put them in here. And so we've got email promo 2, email 3, email 4, email 5, email 6, and email 7. Now, the way Active Campaign works is that we have these things called goals. And this is how I pull someone out of the sequence if they purchase. So this goal is set up to say, hey, if during any time through these emails, they get the tag buyer, pull them down to here, and we're going to wrap up this automation. Your autoresponder does this probably a little bit differently, but you're definitely going to want to pull somebody out of this automation once they purchase. Now, here is the second little trick to this. You have to update the field. So you're going to update that contact field, and you're going to put the current time. That's what this step here is doing for me. That way, it'll check again in 6 months and kick off this promotion again if they did not purchase. Then I'm removing that in automation tag. And then what I'm doing is checking to see if they purchased, and if they did, I'm going to send that data back to Deadline Funnels. This is all set up with Deadline Funnels help desk. They are really great. So if you want to use them, they do have really great help, but this is how it's set up. And then I just end the automation. I hope that walkthrough helped you see how to set up this system. Now, there were a few tips in that walkthrough, but I want to give you some even more cooler tips. Now, there were some tips in that automation workflow that I didn't even remember to tell you about until I got into the automation, but I want to give you a couple of other tips. If this is not converting for you, try a different style of urgency, try a different promotion, try a few different things, rewrite the emails that aren't getting the opens, just work on this system. Because here's the truth about passive income, is that they are systems, but all systems have to be maintained. You wouldn't expect your car to run for like 15 years without some sort of maintenance, right? Well, that's how passive income systems work too. You do have to maintain them. And then my absolute most favorite tip and trick is to build more than one of these, an income stack using them. So this little sequence over here is one income stack, and then stack on another one, and stack on another one, and stack on another one. And then you have this whole robust system that is just generating money every time you put a subscriber on your list. How cool is that?